Yo, welcome if you're new, welcome back if you know what's up. It's Wayne. Let's talk some game. So if you've been watching, I'm sure you know that Sony is going to end physical disc come 2028 for the PS5, and that's been sending the whole internet in a little bit of an uproar. We've seen people go on protests, try and organize suits, just completely boycott and leave Sony altogether. And Sony actually just finally responded to the backlash that they've been hitting on social media for the last 2-3 weeks. And they said, what's done is done. That's it. It's over. They already made the decision. They already passed the bill, passed the law. And according to Sony, there's no going back at this point. So I can understand if you're a physical collector and you have a stake in physical media, why this would upset you, especially if like you really have a passion for your PlayStation. Then you're kind of cooked right now. And hate to say it, but it is what it is. The best thing you could do at this point is up your physical collection for the games that you do have and the games that you do want, and secure those for sure. Because at the end of the day, like, we're in too deep. Aside from the lack of consumer rights with the user licenses from the company's perspective and from our perspective, I think that's where most of the, discourse really comes from, because nobody can deny that digital copies are a lot more convenient and give a lot more accessibility on a broader scale. But the problem with that is, what's the point of accessibility if you don't own the thing you went out your way to pay for, in perpetuity? And I'm glad to see y'all really putting up a stance and trying to make a change, albeit too little too late. Take that action, move forward. Don't buy the P6. Stop it. Go back to your mom and pop shops. Maybe you're not, take some time. Maybe don't get all the new releases this year. If you're on that Sony side, take a step back, you know what I'm saying? Show them how that dollar really moves, because one thing that's been shown time and time again is that your wallet speaks louder than your words. Actions speak louder than words. And the internet is full of words, but you can use your words to organize these actions. So as long as things go along in the correct steps and people are actually trying to make a change, albeit legislation tends to be like 4 or 5 years behind technology, but eventually, hopefully we could set up the future to where ownership is really in the hands of the consumers, because ownership is way more important than just having something to have, especially if the digital license could still be revoked through that physical medium. And I wanted to start this conversation off with that tone because I've been going on the timeline and I've been seeing people sharing and posting about their physical collections, and we're talking about games from like who knows when, way back. Like, what physicals have you bought lately? Like, how have you been influencing the culture lately? I don't want to see a stack of 360 or PlayStation 2 games with no PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox. I need something more modern, because that means, to me, as I see it, that you were a gamer or a collector in a given time, but you stopped and you bowed out. And if your dollar hasn't been pushing the industry lately, then I feel like you shouldn't have as much of a, don't come back just to flex all your old ad games, right? Like, we don't care, because that's having no effect on what's going on right now. So that's kind of where I wanted to start the conversation off, on the ownership side, because more so than that, the value in that is the fact that, yes, some of these games I be seeing are from like 1980, 1990, early 2000s, some great games, and you own them. You could always load them up physical. You could always load them up if you have the proper hardware or the proper means. And that's great, but we need that same energy today. That's the problem. We need that same energy today. And I can be completely honest with y'all. Most of my library is digital. I do have like a small selection of physical games. I go out my way to pick up the physicals of the games that mean a lot to me, or the IPs that really hit my heart. So I got on those, but most of my games are digital. I download them, XYZ, boom, boom, boom. And even with that, like, I'm on Nintendo primarily. Ultimately, at the end of the day, right now, I'm on Nintendo Switch too. And thus far, we've been getting a lot of good third-party games. But another thing I be seeing is the eShop, bro. Like, we be having the worst sales. Like, Steam will forever reign when it comes to the sales and all that. Shout out to PC and all that. But the eShop sales be mid, trash. And then y'all already know Nintendo first-party games don't be going on sale. Like, in the last year, they threw like their secondary games on sale, like Peak Showtime or like Captain Toad and stuff, but all the big heavy hitters, no. You think Nintendo gonna give you a sale on Mario Kart World or on this Ocarina of Time remake that's coming out? No. And it's crazy. That's something you got to deal with when you're exclusively tied to a platform for gaming. And honestly, if PlayStation is going to discontinue physical media, then open up Steam on PlayStation. I think because you gotta, this is how I see it, and I could be wrong, completely off base, right? But they're spending so much money to improve and maximize and optimize this hardware to the point where it's damn near PC. Then we might as well have PC universal storefronts on every console at this point. That's how I feel. And even me being on Nintendo, it's not where I'm like, oh, I don't really care about nothing else, because inherently all these companies, they embed together, they work together, they keep an eye out on each other. And I'm not here for the brand. That's another thing I think y'all got messed up. I'm not here for the brand. I'm here for the games.
Yes, sir.
I don't care
Yes,
who
sir.
has, I'm going where the good games are, where the games I want are. I have no loyalty towards Nintendo, towards Sony, towards Microsoft, towards Steam or any of it. And I'm gonna say that now, and I might have to say it a couple more times for y'all to really get it. I'm here for the game. And on Nintendo, I bring that up because what baffles me is, like, yeah, Nintendo's doing a lot of good right now, but that's because they're doing nothing. Everyone else around them is messing up. So Nintendo just got to stay still and let the competition fall back so they could be in first place, which is cool. But you don't think that Nintendo is going to make the same move in a couple years or maybe next generation, next console type? Because you got to understand that, like, the games themselves keep getting bigger and bigger in storage. We already year 2 into the Switch, and there has been no announcement of a 2 terabyte card, right? We got a 1 terabyte micro SD express, and they going for $300. That's half the system right there. A little bit more than half the system right there. For real, $300 for a micro SD express card? Crazy. And that got me feeling like, instead of taking advantage of the fact that everything's going up and passing on the cost to us, these companies need to be more compromising and more consumer friendly with their approach to user agreements and ownership with their products. And I think y'all be misconstruing love for corporate greed, because the takes I be hearing, especially from the Nintendo fans, is wicked works, bro. Like, first off, no company, no corporation cares about you or loves you unless you are a family founder and member, first and foremost. And even at that point, if you're not contributing any valuable assets or knowledge or skills towards that business and company, the family is going to treat you like a stepchild. For example, right, I'm in the group chat and one of the homies posts up that physical games make up 30% of Nintendo sales. Another homie replies, oh, this shows Nintendo loves and cares for us. What? Huh? I questioned him. So why didn't they refund the tariffs to the customers? They could have at least gave everybody with a Switch 2 $50 in the eShop, you know, like $50 credits. That would have been cool, and they getting the money right back. And because it's for digital games, they're not losing out on any products. That's what I'd consider not love, but at least consideration for your consumers, you know, something in that ballpark. When I asked the group chat, crickets. Everybody's mute. Nobody knows. So I guess it's not corporate love. I guess it's not Nintendo loves its customers, no? And that's fine. They have no obligation to love us because it's a corporation, dog. And this goes beyond just Nintendo or video games. I feel like this is a problem within my generation, right? And I'm 29. I was born in 97. So I'm kind of in that in-between area. I saw the end of the go outside era, and I saw the beginning of the internet grow into what it is now. And I can safely say that, like, my generation and younger, y'all have this weird problem with making brands and like material things your identity and your personality, and building a over parasocial relationship with these corporations. And I understand it, because with the advent of social media and advertising and just marketing being so abrupt, and like, we're growing up on this stuff, you know? But you got to be able to separate and compartmentalize where you're at between the product and the corporation, the idea and the service, because trust me, they don't care. They've proven they don't care. We've given chances and chances for corporations to at least backpedal their wrong decisions, or at least overturn the things their consumers don't care about. And as long as that dollar revenue is up, they've learned y'all are going to spend regardless, because they spent probably the last generation or the last 2 generations building up so much consumer trust and consumer loyalty that for some reason, when they smack you in the face in today, 2026, going on 2027, y'all acting like they just, like nothing happened. Me personally, somebody smacks me across the face with some disrespect, I gotta retaliate. We not gonna act like nothing happened. We not gonna pretend everything's sweet. I gotta get it back. Because what's right is right. And at the end of the day, it's right for all these investors and corporations to try and optimize the dollar. But what isn't right is the negligence on the consumer base and the negligence on consumer rights and ownership. And I think that's really where the conversation has to be recentered and refocused to. And not about, oh, how many physical games do I have, or how much does this company love me? Because, dog, they don't, and we don't care. But I do care about what games you've been playing, what games have been making an impact on you personally, and some of your favorite experiences in life. And if you agree or disagree, if there's anything that stood out to you, leave a comment, let me know. Let's talk about it.